we're going to talk about the Bible today, Bible verses that are relative to your subconscious and to the law of attraction. Okay, so the law of attraction is like attracts like. Ask, believe, receive. Okay, now a lot of people have been asking me about this, especially Christians. A lot of my friends are Christians. On my Facebook page, there are a lot of Christians. And so we want to clear this up because your pastor will not tell you this in church. Okay, your pastor will not tell you these things because, then you won't need to attend church because the kingdom is within and you will go within. And why would you need to do anything else, right? So, for you Christians out there, I will mention that, Jesus, one of Jesus's teachings in Matthew is to pray in your closet and not to be seen in the synagogues and churches and temples because the kingdom is in here. Okay, so we're going to address some of that and how the law of attraction works. Good morning, Jake. And how it works and how we are going to, understand the law of attraction in the Bible. Okay, so let's start with Mark 11:24. I always quote this because this is so important. Okay, so Mark 11:24 gives you, and this is not church, okay, just so you know. We're just illustrating similarities and things that are in the Bible, okay, that coincide with spirituality and things that are conducive to the law of attraction. Okay. Hey, Alan. Good morning. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Kyra. Good morning, Roger. So, Mark 11:24 in the Holy Bible, okay, for you Christians and non-Christians alike, just informational, okay? It reads like this: Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. Ask, believe, receive, okay? So it's very important that you understand that this is not just a process that was made up or, it's not witchcraft or anything. It's in the Bible. It's in your subconscious, okay? Because there's only the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. And we can refer this to the superconscious as consciousness or source or God. We can put God in that category, okay? Now, some people that, partake of these lives do not believe like that. They don't believe in church. They don't believe in that way of believing, and that's fine. So I like to use the term superconscious because it kind of provides a blanket under which we can align all these spiritual forces and however people believe. Okay, so we're going to also look at Proverbs 23:7. Okay, now this is for, for as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. This is concerning your subconscious. Okay, because your inner self, okay, your inner self is your subconscious, what you believe. As a man thinketh in his heart. Okay, they're using the term heart. Esoterically, they're talking about your subconscious. Okay, and we have some, what I call rebel Christians, right? These are Christians that are carrying out their own crusade, and they will come and they will comment, some radical dogma that they have been, indoctrinated into, and we will, have to address those comments. But yes, this is about the subconscious. Okay, now in Matthew 7:7, there's another one about the law of attraction. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door will be opened unto you. Okay, now this is action and expectation. Okay, and the eventuality is manifestation. Okay, now with manifestation, you can't be angry when you write, your affirmations. Okay, you can't be angry when you declare something. Okay, because you're making an impression on the unseen. And when you make an impression on the unseen, it will return to you in kind. Or let's say it another way. If you make a happy impression on the unseen, it will return in good circumstances. Okay? So don't make decisions when you're angry. Don't make decisions or intentions when you're angry, when you're frustrated, when you're not feeling good. Don't put forth an intention. If anything, say a prayer for the opposite, or write an intention for the opposite. So your intention, if you're upset, maybe I am so happy and grateful now that I'm happy and grateful. Something like that, or something towards the positive. Okay. Now, Romans 4:17, to being things that were not. What are they talking about? They're talking about speaking things into existence. Speaking things, how do you speak things into existence? It works through your subconscious. So guard your speech, watch what you say. The reason why you want to watch what you say is not so much about offending another person. It's because your subconscious cannot tell the difference if you're talking to somebody else or if you're talking to yourself. If you're cursing someone else, your subconscious doesn't know. Okay, your subconscious cannot distinguish. It also cannot distinguish between fantasy and reality. Okay, so your subconscious may think you're talking to yourself. And that's why you guard your speech. It's not about the other person, it's about you. It's about being careful. Okay, so Job 22:28, you will also declare a thing, you will also declare a thing, and it will be established for you, so light will shine on your ways. What is that talking about? It's talking about affirmations and declarations. It shapes your reality when you affirm things, okay? Affirmations. I am so happy and grateful now that I am cheerful, or whatever. I am so happy and grateful now that I have an extra $100. I started doing this a long, long time ago, and it worked really well for me. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I started, thank you very much. And I started, so I'll show you a sample over here. And this is one of my finished ones. I have like about 13 of these in storage, And so these are affirmations. It's not, this is not journaling. You put the dates on the side and stuff like that, okay? But you have to do it all the time. If you miss a day, it's okay, but catch up. Do it a couple times the next day. But it's very important because you need to declare something. Okay, in the beginning, when I was first starting this in 2007, okay, if you want to call it a rabbit hole, I went down the rabbit hole. Thank you very much. Good morning, Kate. Good morning, Stephen. And I went down the rabbit hole, and it was quite a journey, okay, because so many things that I had been taught as a child from my uncle, who was my first mentor. So many things that that I was taught, I learned in scientific terms. So there's a lot of science that backs the Bible up. There's a lot of science, but until you see the correlations, you're going to miss it. Okay, so let's look at Romans 12:2. Okay, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. What is it talking about? It's talking about reprogramming the mind. It's talking about your subconscious. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Avalanche. Good morning. How you doing? Thank you for joining us again. So it's talking about renewing your mind, okay? So these things are not just in the Bible. They're not just in science books. Okay, these writings can be found in every holy book, in the Torah, in the Bhagavad Gita. Everything came from the East and moved westward. It came from the East to the Middle East to the West. And this knowledge is out there. This knowledge is staring at you. Okay, it's looking at you. If you know what to look for when your eyes begin to open. Our slogan at Here For You Life Coaching is opening eyes, hearts, and minds since 2010. So my journey began in 2007. By 2010, we started Here For You Life Coaching. And the reason why is because, so many people do not get that the kingdom is within. All the answers for all of your problems, the answers are in here. They're not out there. There is no out there. The only thing out there is nature, and things from someone else is in here. And if someone else can do something in here that is reflected out there, so can you. You can do it. You can do these things. You can succeed. You can flourish. You can have money. You can have a job. You can have whatever it is you want. You can do, be, or have anything. Literally anything. I kind of look at life like a Baskin and Robbins. That's how I've always looked at life. Like I couldn't see, I couldn't see being like a 10-40 person, although I started in life like that, right? But I had, even when I was a 10-40 employee, I had students at home that I was teaching on the weekends. So, I kind of looked at life like a Baskin and Robbins. There's so many things to do. There's so many things to be. I couldn't just, like walk into a Baskin and Robbins and just have vanilla and just, that's it. That's all you get, just vanilla, But there's 30 more flavors here, right? No, you just have vanilla. And you eat vanilla every day, right? Until you retire. And then you take a couple of cruises and you get a thank you party, take a couple of cruises, and then you're done. You're done with life. See, when I started entertaining that idea, I'm like, oh, that's crazy. That's crazy thinking, right? But people do it all the time. Why? Because they're conditioned into the system. They believe that, well, I'm going to make this choice and, I'm going to be that doctor or that judge or that lawyer or that optometrist or that dentist. And it works for some people. And that's what they do their entire life. In my life centered more around my teaching. But before my teaching, it was like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. So I did a lot of things. But the point that I'm getting to is that you can do. At the time when I started thinking about all these things to do, I was young, I was in my 20s. And technology hadn't, appeared yet. It wasn't there yet. And now when I see the children and they're gearing themselves for multiple careers, and I'm like, wow, it's about time. Like, I'm so happy for the younger generation. I'm so happy for them because they have the opportunity to do several things because of technology and the way it's set up. And now with AI, people are going to be able to do multiple careers. They're going to be able to have multiple companies. When I started the hard way. We started a production company first, then we started singing school, then we did a consulting company, then we did the record label. Well, actually, the record label was after the singing school. But yeah, those things, the way we had to do it was the hard way. It was the old-fashioned way. It was the physical way. Now we're online. Now everything's online. And you need to figure out something that you can do online, because the brick and mortar stuff is going to collapse. A lot of people are going to be losing their jobs. So here's what you do, okay? You have to develop a mindset first for whatever it is you want to do. And the second step is to figure out where you fit. What kind of service can you offer? And can you do it online? Because if you can do it online, you can do it anywhere in the world. Okay, I have clients in the UK. I have clients all over on TikTok. I have people from all over the world. And they're watching right now. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Grace. Good morning. Good morning, Angel. So you have to use your imagination in order to find out where you fit. If you think about it and you ask yourself the question, your subconscious will answer you. But first you have to ask. And you have to be open to intuitive thought. When you are open to intuitive thought, or let's say this another way, when you pay attention to your intuitive thought, when you trust your crazy ideas. Okay, the majority of my clients are women, and they have crazy ideas. And I tell them to trust their crazy ideas. And you know what happens when they trust their crazy ideas? They make a lot of money. They get ahead, they get settled, they get focused, they get laser focused, and they achieve. But because women are emotional beings, they've been told a lot that some of their ideas are just crazy. It's not that they're crazy, it's they articulate their dreams differently than men do. And when men start to process the ideas that they hear from their wives and girlfriends and significant others, that kind of thing, it sounds crazy sometimes. Okay, but I'm here to tell you, if you're a woman watching me right now, trust your crazy ideas. Now, we're not suggesting, that right brain creativity side, okay? We're not suggesting that these two hemispheres of the brain are opposed to one another. That's not the case. The two hemispheres of the brain work together. However, we're talking about Bible verses this morning. Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father. And esoterically, what that means is that's where you get your ideas from. That's where you get your inspiration from, the right side. Jesus appeared to his apostles and said, cast your net to the right side. That was the esoteric meaning. Somebody called me a false prophet the other day when I said that, and I was laughing. I go, boy, this guy was really indoctrinated. But yeah, but this is the esoteric knowledge. Cast your net to the right side because Jesus sits at the right side. You get intuition from your right side of your brain, the right hemisphere, not the left. The left is logic. So how does the left work against you in the manifestation process? Well, if you don't trust your crazy ideas that you get from the right side, the left side begins to rationalize you out of it. The longer you take, the more rational you become. Because you begin to process this idea and think about it. And when you process it and think about it, you go, maybe that was a little crazy. Maybe starting my own business was a little crazy. Only certain people can do that. No, trust your crazy ideas. Trust your ideas. Okay, so now let's look at let's look at Philippians 4:8. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, think about such things. What are they really telling you to do? Esoterically, they're telling you to feed your subconscious with positivity. How much positivity does a human being require? Esoterically, we're not even supposed to be called humans. We're Homo sapiens. But theoretically, there's a dividing line at the 50 percentile. This is positive, this is negative. How much do you need to live a positive life? 51%, right there. That's all. 51%. When you pull yourself 1% over the line in positivity, it's not hard work at all. It's not hard work. Now the majority is 51. The majority of your life becomes positive. You know, I think positive and negative has been overused. I think those terms have been overused. But if you want to live a good life, if you want to live a productive life, if you want to enjoy the finer things in life, or the better things in life, or the good things in life, any of those things, you have to pull yourself over the line at least 1%. Can you go more? Yeah, you could push this a little bit more. Okay, now you got 55%. You're doing really good. What if you go way over here? What if you go 85%? Oh, okay, that's kind of hard. That's kind of tough. Okay, that's unrealistic. Because we have balance. It's the yin and the yang. Okay, and you need contrast in your life. You will always have contrast in your life. You will always make good and bad decisions in your life. Always. And you will receive good and bad circumstances from those decisions. So let's take a look at Luke 6:45. A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart. Okay, what are they talking about? Okay, they're talking about your subconscious. Esoterically, it's talking about your subconscious mind. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. Okay. In his heart, in his subconscious. It's very important to have a good heart. It's very important to love. Love is the highest vibration. The highest positive vibration is love. All the good emotions or positive emotions are of love. So you have from here going down. Okay, we have love, peace, gratitude, joy, passion, excitement, enthusiasm, hope, and satisfaction. Satisfaction is the lowest positive emotion. So if you're satisfied, you're doing good. If you're satisfied, at least you're on the positive side of the fence. Where does it go from there down? It starts at worry, and then it goes worry, irritation, disappointment, criticism, right? Anger, hate, boredom, envy, despair, grief, guilt, shame, and fear. And all of those emotions are rooted in fear at the very bottom. They're all rooted in fear. So if you're bored, there's something underlying there that's fear-based. People think of boredom as being neutral, like, well, I'm bored. I have nothing to do. I'm just kind of sitting around. I'm bored, right? Thank you, Avalanche. Thank you, Anna. Good morning, Anna. Thanks for joining us again. Thank you. You know, it's like, well, I'm bored. I have nothing to do. There's a little fear there. Why are you bored? You're holding yourself back from something. So resistance is a thing. We talk a lot about resistance, right? Because resistance is overthinking. Resistance comes from anxiety. Resistance comes from trying to figure out the outcome. All of these things represent resistance. Resistance to what? To your goals, to your manifestation. Whatever it is you desire, whatever you desire to be, to have, to do, all of these things, you build up a resistance to these things. whenever you start trying to invoke your will in it. And once you have done that, we call that attachment. You're attached to it. So detachment suggests, right, that you put forth the intention and let go. Detach. Let go. Just know like you know it's going to happen. And it will happen. Now, a lot of people think this is magic. No, this is not magic. This is your subconscious. Because once you put your belief in the subconscious, right, that's the first thing you have to do. Get your belief into your subconscious. Then what happens? Once the subconscious believes something, once it believes that, okay, this is the goal, this is the idea, this is the new belief we have, right? It works to support this belief in all sorts of ways. But there has to be the belief first. Once you believe something, it influences your habits, your perceptions, your emotions. And the subconscious will replay these things. So it's not just, it's not just like you have a belief and then that's the end of it. No. Once your subconscious learns something in repetition, it does it better than you do. And what I mean by that is your subconscious learns it better than your conscious mind. This is why you don't have to learn how to brush your teeth every day. This is why you don't have to learn how to drive your car every day. It's all subconscious. So you drive to work Monday through Friday, and on Saturday, you want to go to the store to get some bread and milk, and you find yourself driving to work. Who's driving the car to work? Your subconscious. See? So now that's a good example of what if you program something positive into your subconscious, something good. Guess what? It's going to keep happening. So when a person is stuck, good morning, Ara. So when a person is stuck, that means they're going in circles because the belief in their subconscious has been established. And everything is focused around that belief. So when you have a strong belief in your subconscious, it's a guiding force. It shapes your reality to match the belief. Your reality, your perception starts to form around that belief. So, what do you want to believe? Install it in your subconscious. How do you do that? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Can you light a candle and make something happen? I'm sure you could. But you have to believe in the candle. Can you pray? Yeah, you can pray. Of course you can pray. But you have to believe in your prayer. Can you make a wish? Can you wish for something and it shows up? Sure. But you have to believe in your wish. The subconscious learns in repetition. That's the secret. That's the clue. That's the, that's the big mystery. It's not a big mystery. It's easy. Keep repeating the wish until it becomes a belief. And then the wish will materialize because your reality will be shaped around that wish. So let's get back to our scriptures that we're going through today. And the only reason I'm doing this is because, like I said, we have a lot of Christians that watch me. And I know a lot of Christians. And when they watch me, they have questions. They go, hey, that's not what the pastor told me. Well, I've never been a one-book learner. Okay? And if you're a one-book learner, and if that's the only thing that you learn, and you learn it in such a way that it makes you believe in such a way, that's the way you're going to believe. And that's your reality. That will be your reality. Okay, so let's look at 2 Corinthians 10:5. Chapter 10, verse 5. Take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. What are they talking about? Are they talking about taking your thought and putting it out there? No, the kingdom is in here. God lives in here. The kingdom is within. Jesus Christ told you that. So what are they talking about in Corinthians, 2 Corinthians? What are they? They're talking about your subconscious. Okay? They're talking about mindful thought control in the subconscious. Subconscious discipline. That's what they're talking about. I know Christians who think that God is out there, up there. That one day the Savior is coming. One day Jesus will come riding out of the clouds on Pegasus and save everybody. Good luck if you're waiting for that. The kingdom is within. Jesus is in here. God lives in here. Source lives in here. Consciousness lives in here. So let's look at our last one. We have one last one here. So Psalm 37:4. Take delight in the Lord. Okay, now when you read Lord in the Bible, you can use another word that will reveal more to you. And the word is law. Take delight in the law. Okay, Moses was the lawgiver. Okay, take delight in the Lord, the law, and he will give you the desires of your heart. What does this mean? This means you have to have alignment with whatever you believe. You believe in Jesus? Okay. You have to be in alignment with Jesus. Because that alignment creates fulfillment of deep inner desires. And what is that? Subconscious. It's the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious working together. Jesus is in the superconscious category. Because people believe differently, we use the superconscious as the example, as that category. But that's what it is. So when these three are aligned, okay, so what's the job of the conscious mind in this alignment? The job of the conscious mind in this alignment is to not accept what you do not want to attach to, what you do not want to engage with. So if you get a thought, right, you can observe the thought. We always say that. You can observe the thought, you can let the thought pass. The emotion will come right by after the thought. Okay, because thoughts bring emotions. And now the emotion comes. Allow it to pass. Sometimes you'll feel it like electricity just go right through you. It'll be a feeling. Like that. Whoa. Like that. And you let it pass. Why do you let it pass? Because you don't want to engage with it if it's not the thought you want. And pretty soon you will train your conscious mind to go stop, stop, no, stop. That's it. You start to think the thought, stop. okay, that's not the thought for me. And you allow the thought to pass. Then what's the job of the subconscious? Well, if you've allowed the thought to pass and you haven't engaged with the thought, it doesn't go into your subconscious. Now you have alignment with what you want going into your subconscious. Your conscious mind is the gatekeeper. This is the gatekeeper. Whatever you allow past the gate, you will think about. You'll entertain these ideas. You'll entertain these thoughts. And then what happens? Well, a belief is a thought you keep thinking. So the more you think the thought, the more you believe the thought. It doesn't matter what it is. It will start to shape your reality. Now, when the subconscious begins to think the thought and shape your reality, what does the superconscious do? How is the superconscious involved in all of that? The superconscious is where you get inspired thought from. And you will receive inspired thought concerning the topic in the subconscious. And the job of the superconscious is to allow everything to unfold, to bring things into existence for you, to bring the right people, the right circumstances, the right opportunities, and bring it all to you. So, if these thoughts are negative, what's going to happen with the subconscious? It's going to believe the negativity. What's going to happen with the superconscious? It's going to bring all these negative elements together. And then you wonder why you have drama. It's because these negative supporting elements have come into play to support whatever it is that you believe in your subconscious. So when you see someone who always has drama, they're always going through strife, they're always going through struggle, it's because of what they believe in their subconscious. And it's because the superconscious is saying, okay, here you go. Here's the right people to bring you drama. Here's another person to have drama with. This is another person who thinks like you. And that you guys are all negative. Here, you guys all get together, commiserate, whatever, drama, okay? Like that. In your brainstem, you have a reticular activating system. The RAS, what does it do? It filters out what you're not focused on. So if you're focused on drama, guess what happens? It shows you all the things that are drama. And pretty soon, that's your world. But it's only your world because that's what you're focusing on, drama. Anything that creates drama, or problems, or negativity, however it is. So if you believe that these things always happen to you, if you're in victim mentality, right? I call it victim mentality, there's a name for it. If you believe that things always happen to you, if you believe that you're always the recipient of bad stuff, I'm just not lucky, everything happens to me, right? You're attracting more of that. How do you attract it? Okay, so your reticular activating system in your brainstem shows you more of it. Now you see more of it. This is why when you change your vibration and you change your subconscious programming, you change what you believe, you don't have drama. I don't have drama. I haven't had drama for a long time. I have arguments with people. Sometimes I have debates with people, sometimes but never drama. I I have discussions. Sometimes they're heated discussions. Sometimes they're mild discussions. Sometimes they're medium discussions, intense discussions. But there's no drama. Drama's different. Drama is repetition of crisis, repetition of chaos, repetition of disorder. That's drama. Drama is not you don't have enough money for your phone bill. That's not drama. But this is how your subconscious works. Your subconscious is also very susceptible to your environment. Why? Because it memorizes everything. If you change your environment, you change your subconscious. Why? Well, because your subconscious is a culmination of all of your senses. When you go into a different environment or when you move into a different environment, things will change. Because you will adapt to that environment. And this is why they say, well, show me 5 of your closest friends and I'll tell you who you are. Because like attracts like. Not just because, oh, he's like me and I like the things he does, so I'm going to be his bestie. Not just because of that. It's also because human beings are chameleons. Homo sapiens are chameleons. What does that mean? That means if we're in a different environment, we begin to do like they do. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. That old expression, that old idiom. So now in a different environment, maybe they all wear cowboy hats. And maybe you go, oh, that looks like fun. I'm going to wear a cowboy hat. Now you're wearing a cowboy hat. And then, oh yeah, I'll get the boots too. Now you're wearing cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. And there's nothing wrong with these things. Maybe you're in a different environment. They don't wear cowboy hats. Maybe they wear berets. Now you have a beret. I'm simply saying that you follow the trends in your surroundings. You begin to pick up on those things. Because Homo sapiens would rather fit in than fit out. They would rather fit in than get left out. So they begin to blend into their surroundings. And this blending is done through your subconscious. Good morning, Emery. Good morning, Gabriella. This is not very difficult to figure out. So how do you get out of all of this? How do you change these things? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. You have to write about it. Meditation. You have to be still and ask about it. Yeah, ask about it. Seek and ye shall find, but you do your seeking in here. Vocalization, you speak about it. Visualization, you visualize it. And then you can live it because you will become it. So you seek based upon what it is you want, right? Maybe you want to become more loving. So you have to become love. You have to become love energy. You have to become peaceful. You have to have gratitude. You have to express gratitude, express love, express peace, and all these things that are of love. Excitement, passion, enthusiasm. Express these emotions. Some of my clients have become so conditioned from society, right? So exposed to all the violence on television and online, and all of these things, that nothing phases them anymore. They become numb. There's a societal hypnosis that they need to overcome. And once we desensitize them through the vocalization process, they become sensitive again. When you hear someone say, well, that doesn't faze me anymore, they have become desensitized. And you hear men all the time go, oh, I'm not sensitive, right? It doesn't matter who you are. You're sensitive. You're a Homo sapien. You're sensitive. You just don't think so. You may have thick skin, but you still pick up on everything through your subconscious. You may pretend things don't bother you, but you are still affected through your subconscious. I don't care who you are. The beautiful thing about this, though, is you get to choose. You get to identify. You get to say, I am that. I am that. I am the doctor. I am the motorcyclist. I am the ski expert. Whatever it is. But you get to choose. Whatever it is you pursue, understand that it's going in your subconscious. And your subconscious will learn it better than you. And when I say that, I'm talking about the conscious mind. The conscious mind thinks the thoughts. The subconscious records what you think about the most. So your operating system would be your conscious mind. Your hard drive would be your subconscious mind. And the network is the superconscious, the network that we're all plugged into. Because we all have one thing in common: our energy. Everything is energy. My hand looks solid, but this is not solid. When you get the right microscope, everything's moving around in here. Everything's moving. Everything is energy. Money is an energy. Are you having money problems? Start thinking about money as energy. Like attracts like all day long. Like energy attracts like energy all day long. When you change your environment, when you change your mind, your energy changes. You don't have the same kind of energy at work that you do at home, right? Different environment. It's different. When you learn to attract things, when you learn to attract people, when you learn to attract circumstances, then you go, oh, this is energy. Yes, because you're not your body, you're not your name, you're that energy that lives in here. You were given a name. You were also given a body to carry this around. What's in here? And what's in here is who you are. There's 8 billion people on the planet. And I say this almost every day. Because the light bulb needs to go on. No two are the same. And we're just here for a little while. We're just here to experience. We're just here to learn. We're just here to try. We're just here to share. We're just here to love. And then we go. This is made from the topsoil. This will go back to the topsoil. When you walk through the park, when I walk through the park every day, I acknowledge the fact that the trees are producing oxygen. I breathe oxygen. Therefore, I am one with the tree. So how much are we taking for granted? A lot. A lot. We take a lot for granted. Why? Because we're not paying attention. Why? Because our subconscious has learned everything that we do. 90 to 95% of what you do. Is it easy to change any of these things? Of course. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. When the tree produces oxygen and you breathe oxygen, you and the tree are synonymous. You're part of that tree. You're part of the ecosystem. You're part of the system. You're part of the physical matrix. We discussed the physical matrix yesterday. In quantum physics, there are physical properties. The system that is set up is what you get bound to. You get bound to the system. So what do you need to do when you're bound to the system? When things get too heavy, when things get a little too rough for you, right? Working a little too hard. You're kind of like ground into the calendar. You're being controlled by the clock. You have to produce. What do? You surrender. The Christians have a term for that. They call it let go and let God. Walk by faith and not by sight. What does that mean? I'll tell you a little story. When I go down to do my 3 miles in the morning, there's these two old ladies. They're at this park that I walk at. I do 3 miles. I walk and jog. I call it wogging. Actually, Jay calls it wogging, and I kind of picked it up from her. But when I go to the park every morning, I notice that even the cats eat. The stray cats. They live at the park. And they get a catered breakfast every morning. Because these two old ladies show up at the park. They must be in their 80s. And they bring canned food. You know how expensive that is? Canned food for these stray cats at the park. But that's their dharma, that's their purpose, to feed the cats. So God makes sure that the cats eat. They're not eating field mice. They're eating canned food, like first class, as far as a cat goes. But they're eating canned food. Who would have thunk it? Right? So God feeds the cats. So think about your life like this. Everything comes from God to us through others. And everything is energy. Everything is energy. And you have a choice. You can force this energy and push it all out of alignment. Or you can let go and let God You can let intuition be your guide. You can walk by faith and not by sight. Because when you use these, you look away from the kingdom. The kingdom is in here. Jesus Christ told you that. Krishna told you that. Gautama Buddha told you that. It's in every holy book, yet people are still distracted. Because we have eyes, we look over there, oh, shiny new thing. Look over there, oh, the new car. Look over there, wow, look at that girl. Wow, look at that guy. Wow, look at that girl. That guy got a brand new grill. I gotta go buy one grill. That guy has a new boat. I gotta go buy a boat. You see? And these will pull you into another reality. Because first you think the thought based upon the sight, right? So you see something, you think about it. If you think about it over and over and over, it becomes a belief in your subconscious. When it becomes a belief, the subconscious will support that belief. Your reticular activating system will show you evidence of all the grills. If you're thinking about a grill, right? Then, pretty soon you'll see ads for grills. You'll drive by through the neighborhood. Everybody will be cooking on the grill. And then you'll say to yourself, wow, I didn't know everybody had a grill. I didn't know there were so many grills, right? It's called phenomena. It's your reticular activating system. You're designed like this. You're designed to be able to manifest anything. You're designed to receive. Your brain is a transmitter and a receiver. So practice your giving. Humility in its proper form is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. So give. Give to others. Practice giving. And guess what? You're going to start getting. The more you give, the more you get. The more love you get. The more love you give, the more love you get. But if you want love, give love first. Be loving. Get into love energy. Peaceful energy. Kind energy. Get into gratitude. Give gratitude. Give love. If it's money you want, give money. You don't have to give a lot. Give pennies. You have pennies, give pennies. Give it to the kids. You'll make them happy. The heart will start going like that. They'll get excited. And guess what? Those vibrations carry over to other people. And then other people are happy. And now you've affected other people. And when you practice these things, your subconscious learns it. Then it becomes a habit. When it becomes a habit, now you have the cycle in place. Now you have a better life. Now you have love. Now you have peace. Now you have all of the positive emotions. Do you still get the negative ones? Yeah, every once in a while. But it's easier to dismiss. It's easier to let go. It's easier to deal with. So it's 8 o'clock and our time is up on our live. We're on 7 different platforms every morning. So we're going to say goodbye to our international stream. We'd like to thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And we send you lots of love and aloha from Hawaii. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow morning.